Whitney Houston wanted to dance with somebody, U2 still couldn't find what they were looking for, and Rick Astley was never going to give you up when a new quiz show came forward to ask the question, what happens when you bring together contestants from across Europe and make them compete in English? It was 1987. The Berlin Wall still stood, Margaret Thatcher was in Downing Street, and daytime TV was about to get a lot more competitive. Going for Gold was the brainchild of Reg Grundy Productions, the same company behind Sale of the Century and Neighbours, but this time they were thinking bigger. It was ambitious, multiple countries, multiple accents, all live, all in English. The format? 7 contestants from different European nations battling it out in a fast-paced knockout quiz, 5 days a week, and hosting it all, a man with warmth, charisma, and the sharpest suits in daytime telly.
Now let's welcome your host, Henry Kelly.
Each week began with 7 contestants. By Friday, only one would remain, heading to the semi-finals, and maybe, just maybe, all the way to the series final. The first episode was broadcast on BBC1 on October the 12th, 1987 in the early afternoon, and as this was not a children's television show, the only time kids in the 80s got to watch it was when they were absent from school on medical grounds. The chances are that if you were watching Going for Gold, you were probably drinking a glass of Lucozade, as this was seen as a cure-all at the time. As this was a BBC production, all the questions were asked in English, but given that half of the contestants only spoke English as a second language, it definitely gave an advantage to the players from the home nations. In saying that, during the show's initial 10-season run, only 4 champions came from the United Kingdom, which is a sad indictment of the British educational system. Each episode featured 4 rounds, which were as follows. Round 1 was the elimination round. Each edition began with a short general knowledge round to all 7 contestants. Out of the contestants who started the show, 4 would go through to the next round, always referred to as the first round proper by Kelly. These 4 would be the first who managed to answer each of the 4 general knowledge questions correctly. These questions would usually take the form of a 20 to 30-second description of an object, person, animal, or place, usually beginning "Who am I?" "What am I?" etc., with progressively more details being revealed by Kelly until someone was able to identify it. By the Thursday show, there would be only 4 contestants left to play the opening round, and so several questions were asked, and the first person to 2 points would join the previous day's winners in the first round proper. Round 2 was called Beat the Buzzer. The Beat the Buzzer round was a general knowledge round, played with hands-on plungers. Questions were worth 1, 2, or 3 points. Beginning with a general knowledge question worth 1 point, a contestant who gave a correct answer would be told the subject of the next question and got to choose the value to play for. If nobody answered correctly, it restarted with another general knowledge question worth 1 point. The first 3 players to reach 6 points, or 9 in the 2008 version, went on to play the next round. If a contestant buzzed in and got a question wrong, the question would be offered to other contestants, signalled by a buzzer sounding. However, if a contestant buzzed in and gave no answer at all, it would result in a doorbell sound and the answer was revealed. Round 3 was called 4 in a row. In this round, each of the remaining contestants were asked to pick a category out of a choice of 4. The order in which they picked the categories was based on the order in which they progressed from the previous round. Each would then have to answer questions on their chosen category for 40 seconds. Players scored based on the number of consecutive questions they got right. If an incorrect answer was given, their score returned to 0. If they gave 4 correct answers consecutively, then the timer stopped and the game ended. If the time ran out, the score taken from this round was the highest point reached over 40 seconds. After this round, the 2 highest scoring players went through to the final round. A first to 2 general knowledge playoff was held if there was a tie, using the same style of questions from round 1. And finally, round 4 was called head-to-head. In the final, every question was worth between 4 and 1 points, depending on how quickly they were answered. Again, the questions pertained to a famous person, place, thing, fictional character, or event. A graphic of a timer was shown in the middle of the viewer's screen, which showed the 4 or 5 time zones in which a player could buzz in. The time zones, 4 out 3, 2, 1, were split between each player, whose buzzer only worked when their allocated time zone was in play. If a player gave an incorrect answer, their section of the time was passed over to their opponent, and the time, and the question, continued. In the event that a contestant was passed control of a zone and also gave an incorrect answer in the same segment of time, then the next lower segment was also passed over to their opponent. On the first question, the highest scoring contestant from the previous round got to decide whether to play or pass, determining who would have control of the time zones. Thereafter, the contestant that was trailing behind, referred to by Kelly as playing catch-up, would have control over whether to play or pass on each question. If the scores were tied before a question, the highest scoring contestant from the previous round had control on the play or pass decision. In the original series, after the category of the question was given, a clue to the answer would be displayed on the screen for the viewers at home. Progression to the finals. The first player to reach 9 points in this round won the daily game and went through to the end of week final, an automatic place in the first round proper on Thursday, from where the winner progressed to the later stages of the series. The finals week consisted of 8 winners from the semi-finals, 4 from each week, competing in a standard week format of 3 daily heats, with the winners advancing to the grand final, directly to the Beat the Buzzer round. The grand final episode would start with a 1-to-2 elimination round amongst the remaining 5 contestants and play as normal to the head-to-head, where the winner would receive the star prize holiday, as described in every episode, and the runner-up would get a consolation prize, e.g. a colour television or a gold-plated Going for Gold plate. It was like Eurovision for quiz nerds, and it tapped into something new, a European identity but with British production values. The show was a massive hit, peaking at over 2 million viewers daily and ran for a whopping 10 seasons. And at the heart of it all, that unforgettable theme song, composed by Hans Zimmer. Yes, that Hans Zimmer. Before Gladiator or Inception, there was Going for Gold. The original run ended in 1996, but the show left a lasting mark. A reboot in 2008, hosted by John Suchet, tried to capture the magic, but it wasn't quite the same. The new version lacked the charm, and, let's be honest, it needed Henry Kelly. Still, Going for Gold remains a cult favourite. It brought together a continent, challenged viewers, and reminded us that learning can be just a little bit glamorous. Do you remember skipping school and watching Going for Gold? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.